And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans, the bold new voice of independent media, where left meets right. Powered by you, our commenters. My name is Nicolagan, and I am a conservative. My co host, Rob Ambrose, is a liberal, and our goal is simple. We want to challenge the narrative, reject political biases, and tackle topics mainstream media won't touch. But above all, we want to create a space where people who disagree can have a civil conversation and find solutions to the problem we face together. Now, if it's your first time joining us, yes, the show goes for 2 hours. So if you're looking for a specific topic, make sure to check at the bottom. The video is going to be segmented per topic, but I suggest that you stick around because the reason we record for so long is because we talk to our commenters. Compared to all the other shows out there, we thrive on interacting with our listeners. That being said, the topics of the day. First, it's reported that Mark Carney is on vacation again. New Brunswick Premier says the quiet part out loud. Trump signs an order extending China's tariff negotiation by 90 days. What's next for private property in BC after First Nation wins tidal land rights? Bill Gates backed company makes butter out of carbon. Canadian religious extremists are a greater threat to public order than neo-Nazi, says CSIS. Get your comments ready because the show starts now. I love when you laugh at my introduction.
Carbon butter? What the fuck's going on here?
Did you not see that?
No, I never saw that.
Well,
I got to see it.
I got a surprise for you.
We're gonna see it.
That being said, guys, 12:30 today, we have Justice Center, the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms lawyer Chris Fleury joining us to speak about his client, Jeff Evely. And I also want him to address the video of Susan Holt, the premier for New Brunswick, what she said about the hiking bans yesterday. So the quiet part, I think she said it out loud, making her look like a fucking idiot. But I definitely want him to address and tell me what that does for his case. Also, don't forget that tomorrow I am recording with David Creighton, and it is called The Conservative Corner, where two conservative, him and me, will talk about what's going on in the conservative movement in Canada. And I also wanted to introduce something I haven't had time to talk to you about it yet, but I've been, there's an event in Alberta called We Unify. I was approached by the creator of this months ago, and it completely fell off my radar. And now Jason Lavigne, I was speaking to him yesterday, he's going. And he would like me to go. It would be a great event because the premier is going to be there. Some of the biggest voices in the sovereignty movement of Alberta are going to be present in Calgary. So I wanted to put it out there to our listeners. I believe I'm going to start some type of crowdfunding to see if you guys want me to go. Because obviously it costs money to fly over there, accommodation, eat, but it's the type of it's 18th, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I have all the details. I haven't had time to put it all together, but I just wanted to put it out there that if you do want to support independent media, that would be the perfect place to go, because we've said that we would cover it. I'm happy to do it. And that would allow for you guys to have the real information, not what the bullshit that mainstream media tells us. So I'll have more details about it. I just wanted to put it out there. So
yeah. But so what topics are they? Is it about sovereignty, or is it just one of the topics we're going to?
Just give me a second. I'll bring their page right here so that you guys have an idea. Entire screen, boom, pow, chikabang. So this is what it is. Yeah, I was going to say September 18th, but it's September 19th to 21st. the new idea to reclaim leadership. So they're really looking to set. I think they want to promote Alberta, obviously, but they want to promote the separation of Alberta, or at least put it on people's radar. They have a bunch of cool speakers, like Michelle Ferrari, sorry, old MP.
Yep.
Dr. Malone, Robert Malone's going to be there. Viva Frey, which he seems like an interesting dude. I think he's out of Montreal. He lives in Florida now, but he was at one point out of Montreal. Obviously, Maxime Bernier is going to be there, but there's a bunch of, as you can tell, a lot of people are going to be present. Like, it's a bit insane, the list of speakers. Yeah, see, even him. You know that face, right?
Oh, yeah, Jason Levine.
Oh, shit. Ten Kuntz is going to be there for the NCI. He's the one that actually brought it to my attention a few months ago. So as you can see, those are just the speakers, but I think it'd be a great event to cover. So if you guys think I should go, I'll start some type of crowdfunding platform. I've never done one before, but I'll see what I can do, but just to cover the cost of going. So if you guys are interested, I'll definitely speak more about this in the future, but just wanted to put it out there. For the guys out there, don't forget to, if you're on X, like, comment, reshare this stream. If you want to be part of the conversation, make sure to join us on YouTube at the Poli Orphans. Once you're there, like, subscribe. And if you believe in independent media, we do have a membership. Man, I don't want to say scheme. It's such a bad word.
Membership scheme.
Yeah, we do have a membership programs, $2.99 per month to support independent media. That being said, let's get into it. Let's
dive right into it. Actually, it's Squirrel Nuts here. Yeah. What are they bad? What was it? Was this a Taylor? Yeah. Is this a Taylor Swift concert or what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I wouldn't pay for it. Squirrel Nuts. Like, I was invited to go to just be one of the, because I have about 200,000 followers, give or take. So people want to take advantage of that, right? So, it's just the cost doesn't. The cost.
And John Cena.
That is the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah,
that is just fucking funny.
He me too, my account too. So he must have went followed from the Political Orphan stuff and found you, and then found me from you.
That is kind of funny though.
Yeah. Well, I showed so I'm obviously here in Nova Scotia at a family reunion, and my nephew is here. He's 5 years old, and he's obsessed with wrestling. I showed him. I was like, "Hey, brother." Like, look, John Cena followed me. He was like, "Oh my god!"
So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. But I've had quite a few, because some of my videos are just
this story has gone off the like worldwide.
Yeah.
I don't even know if viral is the right word.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen, especially in Canadian politics. That's the thing, right? Yeah. This is why it's so. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. I think I've gained, over covering that story over the weekend, I think I grew 10,000 followers in the span of 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane, because not a lot of people are talking about it the way I do, right? Most people try to put kitty gloves and they just, oh, this is what's going on. I'm like, fuck no, climate lockdowns. This is just like the lockdowns of 2020, and I'm just being me, right? Yeah, but I agree. It's not. It is not cheap. It's. I cannot afford it unless fundraising too. Yeah, but you know what? It's the cost of. It's the cost of the actual flight there. It's the flight plus.
Well, even that
accommodation.
You said it's in Calgary.
Yeah. But I don't need tickets. Like, I can be part of the press there, so I should be able to get away with it. Like, they had offered it to me in the past, so I'm not too worried about that part. Is really just going there. So we'll see. I'll put it out there. But I just like to attend because we promised that we would cover the Alberta sovereign movement, and they're trying to put all the people in Alberta together. So it's not just about sovereignty, but a lot of those people are about sovereignty.
That's the common thread, yeah.
And let's not lie to each other. I come from a sales background. Those events are normally extraordinary good for making connections.
Yep.
For being able to talk to some of the biggest voices in North America. Like, I'd love to talk to Viva Frey in person and just talk about what we do, what he does, what we do, because he's a fellow Frenchie. So
yeah. Wise guy says, if you go out in the woods, be careful not to break your legs because the emergency service is too busy. Yeah, we're on that.
Don't you worry. We talking about that today, but we have like I was saying earlier, we have Chris Fleury from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom that's going to be on the show in 19 minutes. He's the guy that's going to be helping Jeff Avely combat that $28,000 ticket, or just to prove that the actual bans are unconstitutional.
Yeah. Should we do that side of the story first so that we'll have that before, or just
I want to get his impression on that too, because obviously this is going to affect this case, even though it's not in the same province. You know that this is going to somehow affect this case. So no, I definitely want to see. Plus, I want to see his reaction because I didn't talk to him. I have no idea. I've never spoken to Chris Fleury before. It's really just through. I'm becoming very good friends, collaborator, whatever you want to call it, with the Justice Center. So I'm able to get their lawyers depending on the cases that they're working on. But before he shows up, I wanted to cover something super fast because there's not a lot of information to it. It comes from the news comes from Juno News, but I had to talk about it because this is fucking hilarious. Juno's reporting that Carney takes vacation following failed trade talks with U.S. and Mexico. So it seems like Mark Carney at the moment is on what we call a reduced schedule vacation this week, despite his warning about U.S. tariffs. So if you remember correctly, he was on vacation last month in July. He took days off, and now it seems that he's on vacation again. So
why? Like, he needs a fucking vacation from what? From his last vacation? Like, oh my god, I was so exhausted from that last vacation that I need another vacation. That was a vacation when there was the tariff negotiations going on that he just didn't do because he was on vacation.
Hold on. Here it says that right here, the Prime Minister's office press team released a media advisory on Sunday announcing that Carney would reflect a brief period of local vacation for the week of August 11. He will remain in the National Capital Region and surrounding areas. Like, what the fuck?
Honestly, that almost
but what the fuck is this? Reflect a brief period of local vacation. Like,
that almost strikes me as like
verbiage garbage.
Yeah, verbal diarrhea. Like, that strikes me as something else going on. Like that, like a vacation and fucking in Ottawa. Like, that's not a vacation, motherfucker. Like, no one vacations
you're hiding
in Ottawa. Yeah. So in other words, you're just not working. Is that what? Like, you're here, you're in Ottawa, you're just not working. So what else? What is going on? You know, I don't want to just assume that everything is like, some conspiracy, but like, come on, man. You just like, it's not a vacation. You're just not working. Just call it that. I just don't want to work anymore.
And man, it's one of those situations that it's just ridiculous. So nobody else is talking about this.
He's
like,
probably
nobody
like
else
having
is
a mental
reporting.
breakdown. He's just like rocking back and forth, like elbows up in his bedroom or something. And like, Mark, you have to get to work now. Mark, we need to go to work.
Oh no, see, now that's fucking funny. Squirrel Nuts is saying LOL, he's not a Canadian, so he's vacationing in Canada.
He's like, guys, this Ottawa place is wild. I love it here. I've never been.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually a good call, bro. That's actually hilarious. The whole thing is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how we can explain that. And obviously nobody's talking about it. Only Juno's reporting on this. So Like that tells you a lot, right? Like I do a lot. I do a lot of research, and there's certain topics I can never find videos from CBC, CTV News. I have to go to the States, or I have to find independent media that's reporting on it. But clearly, you can see who chooses to respond and who chooses to just like, oh well, we're gonna let that one slide. Why are you laughing?
Well, I was laughing because every time you say Juno or Juno News, I just think Junos. Whoa, whoa! We don't want to get banned from YouTube here, nigga. Oh,
Juno's not here,
Juno.
so she'd probably say that that's what it stands for, but she's not here right now. Oh, Junos.
Junos.
Damn. So it's big news.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yes, nice. Buzzing.
Yep. Buzzing. Nice. Nothing like having randoms in the background there.
Oh yeah, it's my nephew and my mom. They're doing their thing.
Oh, I recognize your mom. Don't worry.
Easy now.
Say hi.
Yes.
Hold on. Let's take a few of those comments.
Yeah, let's get.
We have some time until. I knew this would be quick because that's all I got when it comes to that. It's just funny that he was just on vacation and now he's on vacation again.
Yeah.
What's going on, Therese? What's going on?
Yes, good day to you. Here's Bernadette Zelinsky. That's an interesting last name. She says people will die when they get hurt and are too afraid to call when they really need it in fear of going bankrupt from that fine. Oh, so she's talking about the going out in the woods and whatnot. Yeah. I mean that's a reasonable concern.
Have you considered MAID, Bernadette?
Yeah.
Maybe they're gonna have. Maybe that's what they want. They want $28,500 something to be able to supply Canadians in the woods with MAID on call.
Yeah.
So you just have a team of 2 that shows up. Boop, boop. They catch you right there. Hey, look, boop, boop. That's it. You're done.
Double tap to the head.
Double tap.
Yeah.
Oh no, but I like the irony. I don't know if you're being ironic on that one, but if you are, you're gonna stick around because you're gonna fit right in.
I got a feeling like she's being for real, and I guess if there's someone in the woods and they get hurt, they probably wouldn't call. So I mean that is a concern, and of course some idiot will be like, "Well, they deserve to die." Well, like,
of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, but that whole thing is just ridiculous. I just can't wait for Chris Fleury to come on to speak about this. But absolutely ridiculous that's where we're at.
We're here. So I'm here in Nova Scotia, of course, and we're expecting rain on Thursday. So I'll be very interested to see what they do after that, because if it's temporary, then clearly.
But did you not see the video from the premier of New Brunswick?
The leg breaking one? Yeah, yes. I saw that.
So water or not, it doesn't matter because she completely changed the story.
Yes,
like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Now they're fining us $25,000.
Actually, if it rains, it's probably even worse because people will get more injured because it's going to be slippery. 100%. You know that bullshit ain't. But you know that flatten the curve. Flatten the curve. Never forget that one. 2 weeks to flatten the curve turned into 3 years of restrictions.
Yeah.
Mr. Doctor is saying, what do you guys make of Prince Charles being so pro-Muslim? Who is bribing him? Saudi oil money, Qatar, Iran?
Yeah.
Did you see the video he's talking about?
No, I didn't. I'd like to see that though. It does. Yeah. See if you can bring it up. It doesn't surprise me. He's definitely like that classic sort of like mindless globalist type where he just gets told what lines to say. He gets fed the script and he says it. I get, the bigger question is why do all of these, why are all the elites of the West singing the same tune all the time? But I would like to see this video. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that he did, but I'm not familiar with it.
I'm pretty sure the one he's talking about, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it is the one about wasn't he July 21st, June 23rd? Because there's a lot of them, but which one are you talking about, Mr. Doctor? Because I've seen a few. Are you talking about the one? Because I'm talking about the one. It was from July 23rd, June 23rd. So it must have been from last month or almost 2 months ago now. and he was praising, not only was he praising Muslims, but he was quoting the Quran. So I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, but that's the video I had in mind. But it's not brand new. It's, you know, if it's one of those videos that takes a while to start going viral. But I believe if you're referring to this one, I have it right here, ready to go. So, because that's the only one I can see. Well, hold on. I'll play the first one I found. Give it credit. I think it's this.
Yeah,
one
he
here.
says the July 26th one.
So the July 26th one. So it's definitely someone. That's the one right here. So
okay.
Check this out.
As the Quran says, God does not burden any soul with more than it can bear. We hope that you have a blessed and fulfilling Ramadan. Peace be upon you all. Ramadan Mubarak. As Muslims across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth observe the beginning of the holiest of months in the Islamic calendar, the month of Ramadan.
The Quran also says a lot of shit.
I just wanted to convey my heartfelt best wishes to you all, and to tell you just how much my wife and I are thinking of you at this special time of year. Because this would have been a joyous time. Mosques would be filling with life. Muslim families would be coming together to share food and prayers. And many of them would be inviting their neighbors and friends of all faiths and none to join them.
No, they're
my wife and I
all
can only offer you all our kindest and most special wishes, and stress just how greatly the contribution of Muslims to the life of the United Kingdom is appreciated and valued, embodying the Ramadan spirit of charity and selflessness. As the Quran says, God does not burden any soul with more than it can bear. We hope that you have a blessed...
So he's just repeating himself at this point. It's just the way the video was edited. But all to say that
I don't get it.
In the UK, you have the king praising Muslims, and then here we have a prime minister that said that Muslim values are Canadian values. So
which is just not, it's just not true, right?
No.
It's like it's weird how you're seeing the shift in the messaging. The messaging used to be tolerance, right? You know, they kind of like, they're no different than us, like, you know, they're equal as us, and I can accept a tolerance message. But now it's like, why are you quoting the Quran? You know what I mean? Like, that's not our fucking book. Like, that is not the like, regardless of how you want to feel. Like, yes, obviously the UK is more or less not an overtly Christian nation, but it is absolutely founded on, you know, Judeo-Christian values. There's no reason to be quoting the Quran. And the thing that kind of chaps my ass a little is, you know, that he absolutely would not quote the Bible. He would never quote the Bible. Like, what is it about? Where is this coming from? Why? It's one thing to say, listen, we should tolerate different people with, you know, different religions in our country. Yeah, of course we should. But it's another to place a foreign religion at the head of ours, like some sort of Islam supremacist idea. And the I don't know, man, the vibe is all off. Like, why? Where is this coming from? It's even one thing to say, like, oh yeah, happy Ramadan, Muslims, like, yeah, have a good time, guys. But like to like, I don't know, just the deference he pays to it, the way he like prostrates himself, you know, holds Islam up as I don't get it. I really don't get it. But there's it's the kind of shit that's happening all over the West, and people need to wake the fuck up. This is not you know, this is not, there's no good ending to this story if we don't take a detour here.
You know, at the end of the day, I think it's all an agenda. It's all done on purpose to piss people off, to separate us, because we're a lot easier when we hate. It's a lot easier to control us when we hate each other. But they're doing it on purpose. They're trying. You know, you can go back. I think it was about 5 years ago when Justin Trudeau said that we had no identity. Like, Canadians have no identity. We don't stand for anything. And no, but that's the point. If you accept that premise,
yeah,
then you have to import culture, and that's exactly what's going on. So, and I agree with Mr. Doctor on this one 100%. And I also believe that this is what it's going to be. That's why they're letting so many immigrants, legal or illegal, like illegal immigrants in, is exactly this. The agenda is global digital ID. I was just talking about this on my Instagram the other day. How you see in the US, this is what's going to happen. So they're using all the illegals that came in, and now they want to have proof that you're American. So they're going to push a digital ID, which, you know what, the idea makes sense. Like when it's feasible for people to say, oh yeah, that makes sense. All my information in one place. Yeah, you realize what happens when all your information is at one place and the government controls it all, right? Right?
Yeah.
Especially you look at Canada, that the government has frozen bank accounts through the convoy. Imagine that they had access to all your bank accounts without having to go through your bank account, through your bank, sorry. I'm not sure. I don't want them to have that type of power over me, right? I don't.
No, that's right. And I want to show you guys something, because this is really important. This is I saw this just yesterday, and with what you just said about Trudeau saying we have no identity.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of this. So this is an ad that's, and the reason I'm showing this is to show you this is all across the West. This is like, it's not a coincidence. Like, this is messaging being pushed, and it's designed to demoralize us in the West, to convince people we don't have a culture. And this is an advertisement from a Swedish company. I believe it's an airline company. But listen to the messaging and just think, what the fuck exactly are they trying to do here? We don't hear this messaging from anywhere else. Every other place is allowed to celebrate their culture, and we have to be ashamed of it, of ours. Just watch this and keep in mind what Nico was just saying about, you know, Trudeau.
What is truly Scandinavian?
We can't hear anything, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if you can boost the volume, because we can't hear anything. At least I can't hear anything.
This is a real ad.
No, but we can't hear it. We can't hear anything.
Yeah.
The volume, you remember last time my volume was super low. It happens on X. I don't know why. I don't know why X does that.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I'll is that better?
Oh, right now you're not showing it at all.
Oh, sorry. I pressed stop sharing.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
We are gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
Nico's usually the share screen guy. Where are we? There we are.
Yeah, you're cutting out bad, bro.
Now this should work here. Add to stage. And can you see this?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. But yeah, even just as I was watching this again, as I'm trying to fuck with this, like it's infuriating me.
Oh, there we go. We can hear it now.
Yeah.
No, it's not working, man. It's so choppy. Send it to me. I'll share it afterward.
The question is, what is Scandinavian?
Yeah, but we can't hear it, man. It's so choppy. We can't hear anything. Like, it's very, very choppy.
All right, I'll send you.
Yeah,
I'll
send it to me. We'll play it. I'll play it after.
Yeah, because okay.
So
yeah,
I see I see that Chris is here. So Chris Fleury is joining us. He is one of the lawyers at the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. You ready to go, Chris? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You're good? Yeah. He's ready to go, so let's bring him in. We'll unmute you because you're allowed to speak here. How you doing, Chris?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me.
So, small introduction. You are one of the lawyers at the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom, and you've worked with Jeff Evely in the past on his federal case right now. I don't know how you would describe it, but the one where he got in trouble for protecting a monument in Ottawa. And now I was told, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you are also going to represent him for his Nova Scotia $28,000 tickets for going into the woods. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's all correct, Nico. The one thing I would add is that they were criminal charges in Ottawa. So that's the context, is that we were defending the criminal charges he was facing, mischief and obstructing police.
right now there's no criminal charges for what Jeff Evely did in Nova Scotia, right?
So it's called a summary offense. That's their regime in Nova Scotia. It's sort of akin to what's called a provincial offense in Ontario, which is what I'm most familiar with. It's sometimes called quasi-criminal. So it engages a proceeding that's akin to a criminal proceeding, but it's not actually criminal in the sense that it doesn't, it's not a criminal code offense. It doesn't result in a criminal record, that sort of thing. So even if Jeff is found guilty, then he wouldn't have a criminal record as a result of this. So
before we get into any questions, I want to show you a video. I'm sure you saw it. The Justice Center just posted about it about 42 minutes ago. Of course, I'm talking about Susan Holt, the Prime Minister of New Brunswick. So I know that Jeff's case is in Nova Scotia, but I want us to watch this video and tell me, does that impact your case with Jeff at all? Does that give you kind of grounds to defend it? Does that make your case easier? Should be the question. So let's just watch this video because it's just absolutely outrageous. But here we are. This is Susan Holt, the Premier of New Brunswick, admitting why we have hiking bans in New Brunswick right now.
Me going for a walk in the woods is going to cause a fire. I can understand why people think that that's ridiculous. But the reality is, it's not that you might cause a fire. It's that if you're out there walking in the woods and you break your leg, we're not going to come and get you, because we have emergency responders that are out focused on a fire that is threatening the lives of New Brunswickers. And if you take your boat out fishing in a pond in Crown Land and you capsize, we're not going to be able to come and help you out, because our first responders are focused on an immediate and serious threat to our province.
The lake might catch fire if you're in your
the
boat.
Possibility of diverting emergency resources away from where they are really needed. But me going for a walk and
so, what are your thoughts?
That's wild, man.
The first thing I'd say is
go ahead.
In response to your question, it doesn't really impact Jeff's case. You know, these are New Brunswick politicians talking about what's going on in New Brunswick. It doesn't really impact the case in Nova Scotia. It's obviously ridiculous. It's easy to think of examples of how you could sort of expand this logic into total tyranny, that because the healthcare system is overburdened, for example, hospital wait times are too long. So you can't leave your house because you might crash your car and break your leg or whatever it is. You can't drive. You can't do anything because the hospitals are so overburdened. And you know, we're just not going to be able to save your life, or whatever it is. That it obviously expands out into total tyranny. It makes no sense. It's not constitutionally justified.
Is that the same way you see it with Jeff? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? You see a problem constitutionally with those bans going against the Constitution, similar to the way the federal government used the Emergency Act during the convoy, which the Justice Center was crucial in helping prove that it was unconstitutional. Is that the same thing you're seeing with Jeff Evely's case?
So Jeff Evely's case, the starting point, or the first thing I would say, is that we're at very, very early stages, and I'm not going to be able to articulate in the absolute level of detail the legal argument in the way that I will be in 6 months or whenever it is that we argue this case in court. But what I will say is that self-evidently it engages Section 7 of the Charter. There's a liberty interest involved. Jeff is potentially subject to jail time under the Forest Act in Nova Scotia. So it engages liberty interests. And when it does, or when a law engages liberty interests like that, it has to be congruent with the principles of fundamental justice. And some of those principles, for example, are overbreadth, that a law can't be overly broad. So in this case, for example, it cannot, or it should not, restrict activities that have no reasonable prospect of starting forest fires. So I can tell you, I've reviewed, and this is publicly available, statistics on what caused forest fires in 2023, which was the year that Nova Scotia had a horrible forest fire season that year. It was the hectares burned were just way outside of what is usual in that province. And they have the statistics on what caused forest fires. And it turns out that essentially human beings starting fires is the predominant cause of forest fires. So you can put that up. Do you have, okay.
Did it look something like that?
It looked like that. So
yeah.
You have arson there. I'm looking at it. Arson is way above the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have, for example, debris fires. They're up there. And then there's other things that you might not think of. Using an ATV or a motorized vehicle in the woods, that there's exhaust that could foreseeably start a fire, and in fact does. Smoking is up there. Playing with fire is on there. I didn't notice that the first time. Campfires are up there.
I noticed hiking's not up there.
But that's the point, is that walking your dog in the woods alone, fishing,
going out in your boat, not up there.
Right, like bringing particularly if it's not motorized, if you're in a canoe or something like that, that these sorts of behaviors do not start fires. There's no indication that they do, and so in that sense, the law is overly broad. The other thing that I'd say that, and again, I'm not going to articulate the legal argument fully, but vagueness is another area. Or another principle of fundamental justice, that a law cannot be so vague as to not know how to interpret it. Citizens have to know how to comply with the law. If they read it and they can't say, for example, what is the woods, not what is not the woods.
I was just going to say, yeah.
To Jeff's
video.
Yeah. So I think he would say this, and I would agree, that Nova Scotia is the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
If for example, I were to travel I have family that lives in Amherst, Nova Scotia, and if I were to travel from there to where Jeff lives near Sydney, I would have to travel through, for example, the Cobequid Pass, which is a highway that they built through the middle of nowhere over top of a mountain, where when you drive through it, you look to the left and right and front and behind, and all you see are trees, and it is self-evidently the middle of the forest. And I don't know how that would not be captured by the law. And I know the government presumably didn't mean to capture that sort of behavior, but one has to ask themselves, at what's the line there? If you're driving through, maybe it's not a 2-lane highway like that, but say it's a publicly maintained dirt road that goes through the woods. How close do you have to be to the trees before you're in the woods? The woods is actually defined in the Forest Act, but it's really of no help. It just includes a couple other things. I think dried out marshlands and field can be considered the woods, but that's really not much help in determining, how close do I have to be to the trees before I'm in the woods.
There's a couple of things that are funny. I just want to show it back. So spontaneous. So supposedly we got spontaneous fires. So God is catching fire. So spontaneous, but see how unknown others work out to almost 600 out of the cases, which with debris, grass, terrain, could be simply mismanagement of forest, which is technically the biggest. Lightning and mismanagement are supposedly the two biggest one. But I just wanted to highlight this before I pass it on to Rob. But there's a place here that it says, where did I see that? It said blueberry burning. That's a big problem, supposedly. In
there's a lot of blueberry fields around here. But
that is, I know a little bit about this. I raked blueberries as a child, and I made some money as a child. Mm-hmm. And it is part of the process that you have to burn the fields regularly in order for the. I'm not sure the science behind it, but it involves the regeneration of the blueberries, and it's part of the process in farming for blueberries.
It's funny that you have 600 cases that they don't tell you what it is. It's unknown and others, but they make sure to identify blueberry burning.
Yeah, well, blueberries are a big thing. But just to your point about, Nova Scotia is the woods. So I'm in Nova Scotia here at a family reunion right now. And this is my parents' front yard. This is pretty much all of Nova Scotia. If you are not in Halifax, it is the woods here. And I was going to, you kind of answered the question I was going to ask. I understand you can't give away your legal strategy here, but I was curious as to sort of what constitutional avenues you were going to attack this from, but I think you answered there. So in terms of vagueness, this is, it isn't really obviously clear what are the woods even are. So to say we're going to fine you $25,000 to go, if you go into the woods, is why this law should be, in your opinion, invalidated. Is that more or less correct?
That's correct. So it's a principle of fundamental justice under Section 7, and that's, I would say, our primary argument that the law is in violation of Section 7, and it's a principle of the Constitution that you cannot be convicted under an unconstitutional law. So he should be acquitted on that basis.
Nice.
Guys, if you're just joining us, we are joined by Chris Fleury, one of the lawyers for the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. He is the one that will represent Jeff Evely, the crazy person that went into the woods in front of the officers that gave him a $28,000 ticket. And Chris, I'm calling him crazy because he's a friend of mine, so I know Jeff. So I'm being sarcastic, obviously, but he will be representing Jeff in his upcoming trial. Do you call it a trial, actually? Is it safe to say that it's a trial, or there's another jargon for it? Because I'm not a lawyer, right?
There will be a trial.
Okay.
It is so I was mentioning earlier on that the process it's sort of like a criminal process, but what we have to do is Jeff received the ticket. We have to file a notice of intent with the court. That signals our intention to take the case to trial, and then we'll be given a court date by the court at some point after we file it.
So you had mentioned, Chris, that there was a criminal aspect to this. Is there any potential for jail time? Let's say if there is a conviction in this case, or is that just because that seems insane to me? But just want to clarify that.
So again, it's what lawyers usually call quasi-criminal. It's not criminal in the sense that he will get convicted. There are potentially one of the consequences for breaching the Forest Act is jail time. So I don't anticipate, given the fact that he's given a ticket, that the ticket particularizes what the fine is the prosecution is seeking. I think they're limited to that. I don't think they can ask for jail time in his case. But quite frankly, I've seen stranger things.
I wanted to take this question from one of our commenters. Bumpy Johnson is asking you, what do you think about the Oakes test will be handled in this case?
And if you could define the Oakes test for us laymen over here.
Right. So Oakes involves Section 1 of the Charter. It's quite telling about the Charter that the Charter doesn't begin with a series of rights. The Charter begins at Section 1 with a statement of how the rights themselves can be limited, which is, I think, telling about how the Charter has been interpreted over the years. But Oakes, to the question, is the test that the Supreme Court of Canada developed to figure out whether or not a right is a reasonable limit. Essentially, it has to be proportional. It has to involve a pressing and substantial objective from the government that's rationally connected to that objective. So the means have to be rationally connected to that objective, and it cannot be minimally impairing. And then the court basically conducts a proportionality analysis under that sort of framework and figures out whether the law is a reasonable limit. So when there's a breach of a law under Section 7, which is what we're talking about here primarily, it is traditionally very difficult for the government to justify that law under Section 1. And the reason is that by the time you find a breach of Section 7, you've already found a breach of fundamental justice. And it's almost by definition that if the law is overly broad, then it's not minimally impairing under Oakes. So if assuming that we're successful on Section 7, it's very difficult for the government to justify that law under Section 1.
Is there an aspect to the Oakes test where, and you might have said this in your explanation, but where like efficacy has to matter? Like for example, it has to actually reasonably prevent the problem it's trying to solve. So right here, the problem is we don't want forest fires. Okay. Could you not argue that hiking is not likely to be, hiking in the woods is not something that is actually going to cause fires, and therefore banning hiking would not be effective against preventing forest fires, and therefore the law itself is not valid?
The courts have traditionally been very reluctant to go into that sort of analysis or to say what governments should do to address, for example, forest fires, to address COVID-19, whatever it is. It is, I mean, it's certainly part of the minimal impairment, part of the overbreadth argument that they're capturing activities that have nothing to do with starting forest fires, to your point. So it's part of the analysis. In the case, I anticipate we're going to have an expert. It's going to be an expert in forestry who has experience managing forest fires. We've already reached out to some people, but we don't have someone definitively yet. That's something that will come together. And that person is presumably going to speak to whether or not these activities, the ones that we're talking about, if you're canoeing on a lake or if you're hiking through the woods, you're having a picnic or whatever, that whether or not that causes forest fires. Are
you confident in defending Jeff, or is that something that has you a bit nervous? Is that a question I can ask? Feel free not to answer. I'm just curious on your confidence level.
I'll say this, that I've done quite a bit of criminal defense over the years. I've defended a lot of people on the call them COVID tickets in Ontario, the Reopening Act tickets in Ontario, and in any case where a person is charged, they're up against the resources of the state. They're going before the court as an accused person. In those cases, it's always an uphill battle. I don't want to make light of it. It's literally always an uphill battle. There are some cases that are stronger than others. I think Jeff has a very strong constitutional case, and I'll just leave it at that.
Out of curiosity, is promoting people going into the woods to kind of overburden the system, is that a criminal offense? Is that an offense if I say that people should do what Jeff did and just carry on with their lives? Because if enough people do it, enough people stand up to it, the government can't keep up. The only reason Jeff got the ticket is he literally asked for it. He did it on purpose to be the first one to get the ticket, to just have a case, because last time in 2023 he didn't have a case. At least that's what he was told, because he didn't have a fine. Now that he does, he did it on purpose. But is it dangerous? Is it illegal? Am I breaking any law by recommending to my followers to say, you know what, if you're in New Brunswick or if you're in Nova Scotia, you should go for a hike? Literally, you should go for a hike.
You know what? I'm not sure if counseling an offense under the Forest Act is specifically an offense. It could be that it is. I don't think it's advisable. As a lawyer, I mean, my advice is to comply with the law, even in the cases of civil disobedience. I don't recommend it to clients or to anyone that I'm speaking with. But obviously, people feel compelled to go on and take on tickets and liability the way that Jeff did.
We might have to talk later on, because I have suggested to my large audience that maybe they should. That's a simple, non-violent way to stand up to your government.
So I have a question for you, Chris, and there's some opinion here, so feel free to bypass this or sidestep it. But as a layman watching from the outside, I kind of suspect that the government of Nova Scotia did not ever think they'd have to give one of these fines, and it occurs to me that they might not actually be very prepared to defend this. Maybe they hope that the size of the fine would have been enough. Do you get any sense of that? Do you think that this is something that took them by surprise, or do you feel like they are prepared for this? And again, feel free to sidestep that completely, because that may involve, some discussions you're already having behind the scenes with your counterparts over there. But I'm just out of curiosity, this almost seemed to me like they just kind of assumed that, the peasants would fall in line and they would never actually have to go through this.
So I'll tell you a story about what happened in Ontario during COVID, and it speaks to your point. I defended a number of individuals who were charged with breaching the Quarantine Act, and they were unvaccinated individuals who were forced to essentially lock themselves in their own home for 14 days. And this wasn't at the beginning of the COVID-19, when I think a lot of people would give the government a bit of a break, at least in terms of the beginning. But this was 2022. This was when everyone understood the vaccine did not stop transmission. It was just widely understood at that point. So we brought a constitutional challenge. It was before the courts they all happened at the Pearson Airport in Toronto. So the applicable court is in Mississauga. And we brought 4 legal challenges. We bundled them all together. And we said, we had our expert ready saying that the vaccine doesn't stop transmission. And long story short, what happened in that case is that it got before the prosecutor, and the prosecutor looked at it and said, I'm not spending a week, on a trial for these 4 guys that, I could prosecute, because it's the Provincial Offences Court. I could prosecute 10,000 speeding tickets in that time. And we don't want to waste the court resources on this constitutional challenge. And what ends up happening in that case is that the government avoids accountability because there's no charter challenge. I don't actually, this is just my opinion, and people disagree, but I don't think, at least in that case, I didn't think the prosecutors were being political. I just thought that they were they looked at it and they thought, we don't have the resources to do this. They're usually dealing with like speeding tickets, in the worst case, like careless driving or speed racing, that sort of thing. That's their bread and butter. That's what they're dealing with. They're not criminal code prosecutors. And they just looked at this and said, I don't want anything to do with this. And they ended up withdrawing the charges. And could something similar happen in Jeff Evely's case? It's possible. I'll say we've been having discussions behind the scenes about how to avoid that. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but is it possible that when the prosecution and the court hears, well, hey, this is going to be a constitutional challenge, we're going to need, just spitballing, maybe a week of court time or whatever it is, and there's going to be an expert on our side, and we anticipate an expert or one or more from the government, and this is going to take time to do in court to hear properly, they may not want to hear it, but they may may have the appetite. They may say, we want to make an example of this guy. That's a possibility too.
We have such smart listeners, because Mr. Doctor is saying exactly that. They will make an example of him, unfortunately. So it seems that sentiment might be shared. I don't know. I'm a strong believer in standing up to your government and making them look ridiculous. It tends to be the best way to do it. The best non-violent way to do it is to expose how ridiculous they are and try to have them explain themselves in court, because you don't have a choice. You either will, if you don't address it, people are going to make fun of you. If you back down, people are going to make fun of you. And if it goes to court and you can expose how ridiculous this is, it still looks stupid. So no matter what, in my opinion, the government's not going to look good on that one. It's just to know, are they going to pursue it or not? And I guess only time will say.
Chris, and again, this is also another sort of opinion piece, so feel free to bypass it if you want. But
he's a lawyer, Rob. I don't think you need to tell him that. He's a lawyer. At the end of the day, he knows
how to buy. Yeah.
That's why that's why we need lawyers.
Like, it's paid the big bucks.
I'm trying to engage with you guys directly. I'm really trying.
I'm just making fun of Rob. I'm like, bro, he's a lawyer. He knows what he should and should not say, or else Jeff is in trouble.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, big trouble. And again, I know this is also going to depend, honestly, just on who the judge is and their personal whatever. But in your experience, is there, or at least in your opinion, is there the potential for a judge to deal with Jeff more harshly on this in order to, as you say, make an example, because it was not, an accident? He willingly went and got the fine, and they may look at that as perhaps an aggravating factor. Is that can the judge just not consider any of that whatsoever and only the facts on the case?
You know what, to be totally candid with you, I'm still getting up to speed on the ticket regime in Nova Scotia. In some cases in Ontario, there are set fines. And in some cases, the judge doesn't have to abide by those set fines. So it's a bit of an open question at this point. Where the amount is stated on the ticket, I'm reasonably certain that that's what the prosecution is going to be seeking. For the judge to go beyond what the prosecution is seeking in terms of a penalty is a little bit extraordinary. Could it happen? I'm not throwing anything out at this point, but it would be extraordinary for the judge to impose something beyond what the prosecutor's seeking.
Or even like not necessarily imposing something more, but like might influence the decision. For example, if Jeff made the exact same arguments that he's going to make here in a few months, but it was a genuine accident, maybe the judge might say, okay, yeah, you're free to go. But because it was intentional, he might, and again, I know this is got to be very much up to the judge in the specific case, and you can't speculate on who that's going to be. But have you seen that in the justice system? Is that sort of, or our judges tend to be pretty leave like their opinions on whether, the attitude behind the infraction itself?
So I would say, just in general, if something is planned and intentional, that's usually an aggravating factor on sentence. And the judge is usually, in all cases, is weighing a series of aggravating and mitigating factors. So in this case, for example, one of the mitigating factors would be Jeff was in the woods for about 90 seconds, I think. He went in a couple feet into the woods in full view of the conservation officers and then came back out. So it's not, he's not engaged in the sort of, to turn back to the first part of our conversation, he's not engaged in the sort of risky activities that you would expect would start a forest fire. And that's one example of a mitigating factor. The court would consider not just the offense, but what's called the circumstances of the offender, meaning all of Jeff's circumstances. For example, that he's a military veteran who served his country would be one factor that would be mitigating. And the court would look through, again, who Jeff is, how he came before the court, as well as the circumstances of the offense, and that's how a judge generally comes to a sentence.
Is the fact that he's already in court, that you guys are already in court for something else, problematic?
That's you're talking about the appeal of the criminal convictions in Ottawa?
Yes, the federal case that you're helping him on for. What was it? It was for
mischief and obstructing police. So he was.
Would that affect the justice actually?
On the potential to label Jeff as some sort of troublemaker and then deal with him differently, either unofficially or officially?
The short answer is that no. That's all just irrelevant to whether or not he went into the woods. I'm sorry.
No. Do you think
my phone is going off? So sorry. Can you still see me, guys?
Oh yeah. You're good.
Okay, perfect. So. Sorry, just remind me what your question is. Oh, if it's relevant. No, it's not. It's not strictly speaking relevant. What the issues are in this case are whether or not, again, he went into the woods, and whether or not the legislation is constitutional. Those are the issues. Anything outside of that, who Jeff Evely is, what he has said before or done before, that's all irrelevant.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you, Chris, for what you're doing. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing as part of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom. Thank you for helping Jeff, because I'm a fan. I've been recording content with Jeff for more than a year now. I'm a fan. I like that guy. I'm so happy he did it. He's the perfect guy. to do what he did. So thank you for the work that you do.
Okay, no problem, guys. It's great to be with you, and I just want to say I hadn't heard of your podcast before, but I love the name, and I can relate to it a lot myself. I feel like a political orphan these days.
Yeah,
We
you know,
appreciate that, Chris.
even John's been on the show I think 5 times now. We've done a lot of don't let the bald heads and the tattoos fool you. We do a lot of deep dives and bills.
Yeah.
So we're a lot smarter than we look. Just so you know. Just so you know. But thanks for
we
thanks for
appreciate
your
that,
time.
Chris. Thanks so much for your time. We'd love to have you back someday soon.
Okay, great, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye.
See you, Chris.
And there you are.
Some great interviews we're having lately, man. We just
You're welcome.
quality guests.
It's fun to have it. It's cool to be able to have the lawyers that will be going to court to help
Absolutely.
Jeff Evely on one of the most viral thing going on right now. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely, I think I'm at 3.3 million views right now on that video.
That's wild.
On
That is
Instagram.
wild.
Yeah, and
Well,
I have a lot of American followers, right? And they're just reacting like, what the fuck is going on in Canada? Like,
it's wild. It's wild, man. It's great. He clearly knows his shit.
Bumpy
I
too.
seen that question I seen
damn.
that question on Bumpy, and it was a great question, and that's why we had to ask it. But you never know. I don't want to embarrass the guy. Like, maybe you ask him, he's like, "Oh, I'm actually not sure what the Oaks test is," but no, he knew his shit, man.
No, but it's like John. I think John. It's the same thing with John Carpe. We've asked him some questions when we did the first deep dive. Well, the first dive into Bill C2, and he was like, "Guys, I don't know." He would. I don't think he was expecting us to have read the 140 pages before we actually spoke to him. I think he thought that we would just be, "What is the name of the bill and what's the no. So yeah, it's very cool to have Chris on. I'll continue looking for great guests to show up, especially on topics that are trending right now, like they're making the news. I'll always make sure to try to get some people. And for the people listening right now, I always take suggestions. If there's topics you think we should cover, if there's stories you think we should cover, if there's people you think we should have on the show, let me know. I will hunt them down to the best of my capabilities. And man, over the years, I've recorded some content with some of the biggest names in the world. So I will not quit. I know somebody that knows somebody, right? There's only a few degrees of separation between me and everybody out there. So there's a way, but the show is to be influenced by you guys. That's why we do it live. That's why we take comments from people. The whole point is we want you guys to be involved. So if there are topics you think we should cover, if there's topics you just want us to address, or if there's experts you think that we should have on, let us know. We're always down to please the commenters, because at the end of the day, that's why we do it, right?
Yep, absolutely, guys. If you're just tuning in here now and you were watching that interview with Chris, if you like what we're doing here on the show, if you think there's a need for a space like this internet, please remember to support us. First of all, by liking and sharing the stream. There's no reason not to do that. It takes you 2 seconds. But if you really want to support us, help us build a community and help us bring in this high quality content to you day in and day out, Monday through to Friday, please consider becoming a member. For $2.99 a month, you can help support independent media and help us build something special. Sylvie, look, bro, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just how I am. Like,
it's just funny.
It's like Nico telling me like, fuck, what did it say? Don't start a sentence with, well, I feel this way. Bro, that's just how I talk. I don't know what to tell you. Like, fuck, it is. Bernadette Zelinsky
is
do
asking,
a deep dive.
Do you know the commercial she's talking about?
Yeah, isn't that the satanic one?
Yeah, I think I showed it on the show.
That was pretty wild. That was pretty wild.
So fucked. I actually talked about it on my Instagram. This is insane. That thing. I'm a big fan of behind the scene, like doing some research in the background, understanding what little messages you can find in videos, what they mean, what they could mean if you look at it from a spiritual aspect. That video is scary as hell, but to me it indicates cannibalism. Like, this is what I look at the video. It talks about, to me, it talks about human sacrifices and never fucking eat at KFC again. Not that I would ever eat there, but all to say that if I start eating there, if I start eating there and we go into the woods together, be worried because I might eat you. If I like the taste of humans.
Sylvie says here, you played that commercial before I sent you, and actually that reminds me, that's where I saw this on X. The commercial I was trying to play before with Scandinavia. Sylvie sent that to us. I actually sent it to you on.
You know what? Let's.
Why don't we play that?
Yeah, but Sylvie's the one I think that sent me that video. I really did not believe it when she sent it to me. I'm like, yeah, there's no way. That has to be like just a cool montage that people did and say KFC. No, I did some research and it was part of a commercial ad from KFC UK. So it's real. I found it on the official KFC page on YouTube. So it's official. It's real. It is what it is. It's fucked up as it sounds. 100% true. So I have your video right here. Just let me pull it up here.
If you guys
I'm just gonna listen to it for a second to make sure that. Oh yeah, okay. The volume is good on this one. So here is I'll make a little intro for this one. So here's a video of it is labeled what is truly Scandinavian? Absolutely nothing. And we were talking about this before Chris Fleury showed up because of a comment I made earlier referring to Justin Trudeau a few years back, about 5 years ago, said that we had no identity, that Canadians have no identity. And now it looks like a Swedish airline thinks every country has a unique culture except Scandinavia.
Except the Western countries, basically.
Of course.
This is a shocking ad, man.
Scandinavian. Yeah. These? Absolutely nothing.
Except a fat guy with titties.
There's no such thing.
Everything
Creepy ass twins.
Our democracy.
Människor som tillsammans formar framtiden.
Credit goes to Greece. Parental leave.
Thank you, Switzerland.
The iconic Scandinavian windmills were actually invented in Persia. And we made the German bicycle a staple of our cities.
Like, what is the intent of a commercial like this?
It's Turkish.
What?
Smapple? Dutch.
What about licorice?
It's Chinese. And
Midsommarstången.
German.
And it gets worse.
rumor has it the oh-so-Swedish meatballs might not be as Swedish as you think, but Turkish.
Even the Danish isn't Danish.
It's Austrian.
Nobody's right.
And the pride of Norway, the paperclip, was actually invented by an American.
And while we're at it,
America, thank you for taking the first steps
in empowering the women's rights movement.
We're no better
Than our Viking ancestors.
We take everything we like on our trips abroad, adjust it a little bit, and
Voila!
it's a unique Scandinavian thing. Going out into the
Okay, I gotta stop it right there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Scandinavian as they're showing a black guy?
Yeah,
Like, are you
talking about our Viking ancestors.
Bro, no.
It doesn't. It's wild. Like,
No,
I mean,
let's finish it. It's just I had to talk about that part.
yeah.
Okay,
Our
so hold
Viking
on.
ancestors.
So
well,
you're trying
let
to
me
tell
stop you
me
right
that
there. Let me stop you right
Scandinavia
there,
doesn't have culture, but you're using a black dude and refers to his ancestors as Vikings?
Our Viking ancestors,
brother, you're way too tan to be a Viking. I hate to say it. You no, sorry, you're not. Your ancestors are not a Viking, and
no,
you're purple, bro. You're not even black. You fucking.
But
purple.
imagine you or me talking about our Zulu ancestors, our Zulu warrior ancestors. Like,
of course,
it would be ridiculous, but also racist as fuck, right? Like, it's just. just finish.
Yeah, I want to finish it. It's just that black part. I'm like the black dude saying that his ancestors are Viking.
Our Viking ancestors. Let me stop you right there, pal. We gotta have a chat.
That is what you call culture appropriation.
Yes.
The world inspires us to think big, even though we're quite small. Because every time we go beyond our borders, we add colors, innovations, progress. Adding the best of everywhere to here.
How is that supposed to be an effective commercial?
In a way, Scandinavia was brought here. Piece by piece.
Nah, bro.
By everyday people who found the best of our home away from home. So, we can't wait to see what wonderful things you'll bring home next.
Okay, I gotta take bumpies. Okay, bro. I don't know if you're being an ass right now or if that.
Akbar the Brown.
You don't remember the Viking Akbar the Brown? Exactly. It's
like, and of course we're laughing about it, right? And it is funny because it's so ridiculous.
I have to. Come on.
But there is something else going on here, right? This is meant to demoralize an entire population. Everyone else in the world is allowed to be proud of their culture and celebrate their culture, and we have to be proud of their culture and celebrate their culture. But God forbid we have one of our own. God forbid we have a history. They're trying to create a generation of orphans, so we don't have a history, we don't have a past, and like that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. And so Joe says here, let's see if I can bring it up. Here I'll find, but it's something like, we were all, we all have ancestors from Africa or something.
Of course. That's supposed to be the basin of. That's supposed to be the basin of life. Supposedly, originated somewhere in Africa.
All our ancestors are African, just a matter of when left continent. Sure, and that's that is a point that's a contextual point, and that's correct in a sense. But that's not what they're talking about, and we all know that, right? That's not what's actually going on here. They're trying to erase the history of an entire people, and it just so happens to be us. They're trying to make it, racist for you to be proud of your culture, and that's wrong. We have to accept and celebrate everyone else, but everyone else's culture and history, but we are not allowed to have one of our own. And we need to wake up to what's going on here. Even just me saying this, there are a lot of people like, oh, you can't say that. Oh, that's racist. That's white supremacist. No, that's fuck. I mean, I'm all for it. If we don't want to celebrate anyone's past, yeah, sure. That's cool. But don't tell me I have to celebrate everyone else's past, but I'm not allowed to tell my son that he also has a past. He also has ancestors. He also has a culture. That's bullshit. I don't accept that.
So are your origins from Scandinavia?
Yeah, Swedish actually. Yeah. So my mother is from Sweden, but I'd be just
so that's why it drives you nuts, because I had to check, but Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, Iceland, and Faroe Islands are what's considered Scandinavia.
But even if I wasn't, I would still be pissed, because that isn't about Sweden or Scandinavia. That's about the West. It's just all the West. We have to be basically, white people in the West are being taught from day one that we have to be embarrassed and ashamed of who we are because of what our ancestors did. All our ancestors did was be fucking the best at the same game everyone else was playing. They were all colonizing everyone. They were all conquering everyone. They just happened to be really fucking good at it. And I agree that, if it would be wrong for us to go around now as powerful Western nations colonizing and conquering other countries, but we're not doing that. And I just reject the notion that we have to feel personal shame for the things that our ancestors did, despite the fact that everyone else's ancestors did the exact same thing.
But it's only okay if you're not white.
Joe, yeah, but you're putting your head in the sand, man. If you're not, maybe that exact one specific ad, but that you have to understand the broader context that all of this conversation, this discourse is occurring in. If you think that this is one tiny puzzle piece, yes, and no, that one tiny puzzle piece does not say that you have to be ashamed of where you're from. But that puzzle piece is part of a much broader puzzle, and that's absolutely what that puzzle is saying. And I mean, if you don't, it's free to not believe that, but in my opinion, you're just putting your head in the sand if you don't think that's what's going on.
And then we have the complete opposite view from Mr. Doctor saying it's it's racially motivated, culture erasure, most likely funded by China, to be honest.
That's possible too. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't. I just know that it is a thing that is occurring. The mechanism it's being used is the left, the far left activists. They're the ones who are promoting this discourse, this messaging. If it's whether it's like organically originating from within the left and being spread throughout the West, I don't know. Maybe it's being funded by China as a way to cause social division. Entirely possible. And
I don't even think it needs to be. This is one of those things that, as much as I believe that there's a conspiracy in the way that we're being educated, as in we are indoctrinated from a young age through our school system, at one point you don't need to do much anymore because the seed has been planted, and the left does tend to hate themselves. You said it multiple times, and it's true, right? So if you put that in the mind of people, like just this morning, I was coming back from the gym and I was listening to the radio, and they had a guy. I like AM radio where people are actually talking about stuff, and the guy was putting a cruise together for like 20 students to explore the north, like Antarctica, and go to Iceland. It took two weeks and something like that. They're going to be on a boat to see the real damage of climate change and to see what they can do to change it. So I'm like, it's everywhere. Those people are paying a crazy amount of money to go see this, and you're going to compare it to what you've been telling me for 40 years and nothing has changed. Actually, supposedly that there's more ice right now on the ice caps in the north than there's ever been, or at least in recent years. It started growing again. So the thing is, you can say that to those people, but they won't even entertain the conversation. But it's everywhere. Like, students are paying a stupid amount of money to go on those trips to see what exactly. If you want to explore the Antarctica, it's probably really cool. I would do that. I would go to Antarctica if that made sense. If I could fucking do that, why not? I have a chance to go somewhere most people don't go. I'd fucking go. I wouldn't be there to explore, see the effect of climate change.
Is there like some, like what's the conspiracy here as it relates?
No. What I'm saying is,
what's the question? I guess.
No, there's no question. The comment is that, you guys don't. You and Jeff don't really believe that there's somebody behind the curtains. You believe that people are just fucking stupid. I don't, but I do believe that the indoctrination centers that we call education, that we call our schools, have indoctrinated our youth. At one point, you don't need to do anything anymore. At one point, they are so indoctrinated that they will believe whatever the fuck you feed them afterwards. And this is my point. Like, you have guys charging a stupid amount of money to go to Antarctica, to travel between Antarctica and Iceland, to go see what the real damage of climate change are. And I'm like, do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm so hold on. So you have the indoctrinations already. They're so indoctrinated that they're going to pay a stupid amount of money
why would you
go be lied to. I understand if you want to go on a boat trip and between Antarctica and Iceland, that's probably cool as shit. But that's not the angle they're taking, right?
Is it the Arctic or the Antarctic, as this guy says?
Hold on.
The one up top. The one up top is.
Of course, it would be from there to Iceland.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the Arctic. But yeah. Point taken.
Oh shit, that's my bad. That's my bad, because it was a show in French. So I'm translating. So that's my bad. So Arctic.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
the one that's north of Canada, not, if you're looking at a globe, not south of Canada.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking at a map, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, the education system in general has become a place to indoctrinate children, and it shouldn't be, right? It should just be a place to teach them skills, mathematical skills, reading, writing, the basics. We don't really need all that shit. But yeah, I mean, your point is taken. That is weird. I didn't know people were doing that. Is it like a tour? Like,
yeah. I was literally just at the gym. Like I wish it would have been, I would have seen it on my laptop so that I could actually research it and see what it's all about. But I was just at the gym coming back. I was just in the truck coming back from the gym, and it was just on, as Sylvie says, talk radio. I love talk radio, and that's all they were. They had a guest talking about the tour that they're organizing to show students the real effect of climate change between the Arctic and Iceland. Thanks for the correction, by the way.
And I wonder how, like, what would they show them? Like, what could you?
It's a good fucking question, but the point is that it's very attractive to those people that's been indoctrinated. Because you look at me and you try to sell me that, bro, I'm gonna laugh in your face. Now, if you're trying to sell me a trip from Antarctica to Iceland because nobody goes there, because this is a chance of a lifetime, because it's not, fuck, you're not going to a resort here. You're going to see shit that the average individual will never see. Now, that's attractive to me. But the sales pitch to them is climate change. That's
as
the
Joe
point.
says here. Give me the child until he is 7, and I'll give you the man. A quote from St. Francis. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's why they want to get them young, and this is true of any sort of ideologically motivated or authoritarian regime in history, whether it's the Hitler Youth or the Mao's Red Guard. They often will go after the young, right? Easily indoctrinated.
Yeah, it's their children. They treat them like their children, and they indoctrinate them the way they want to be. They want to indoctrinate them in the way that their beliefs. Once those are anchored, very hard to remove. Very, very hard to remove.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It becomes part of their worldview, right? And that's why.
See, there you go. Give me 4 years to teach the children.
Go with the quote.
And the seed I have sown will never be uprooted. Vladimir Lenin, LOL. Kind of proves a point, huh?
He knew a thing or two about indoctrination. For sure.
Yeah, no shit. Let's change subjects here.
Yeah,
there's a few
on.
other topics I wanted to cover. Next one will be short, but it kind of shows our failure here in Canada. But Trump announced yesterday that he's extending China's tariff truce by 90 days. So here's a quick video to talk about it, but it just kind of shows that, even China is getting an extension.
It's getting,
Mexico got an extension, while this time Mark Carney's on vacation.
An Ottawa vacation.
Trade with China. Let's get that now from Eamon Javers at the White House.
Brian, that's right. A White House official tells me that the president has now signed an executive order to extend that China trade negotiation for another 90 days. Now, we haven't seen the executive order yet. I'm told it's about to be released publicly a short time from now, so we'll wait for any additional details that might be in that. But that is the expected outcome here after those negotiations in Sweden between Treasury Secretary Bessent and his Chinese counterparts. Bessent said that he was going to come back to the U.S., brief the president in the Oval Office on those discussions, and then they would decide whether or not to extend that deadline. Otherwise, if not extending the deadline, that tariff snapback would happen tomorrow, Brian. So the president here waiting until the eve of the deadline to go ahead and extend. He was pushing on social media yesterday for more soybean purchases from the Chinese. We'll see if he got any commitments on that and any other details around this when we get the official language, which I'm told is coming out shortly.
So there you have it. Trump's extending it by 90 days. We'll see what happens. But the only reason I wanted to bring that up is for all the people out there that keep on saying that Trump is always the problem. He's the problem. He's the problem. We don't even have a deal with Mexico. Even Mexico made fun of us. So who's the problem, really? I'm not saying that he's not a problem. I'm saying that, I like to look at common denominators. And in this case, the common denominator between Canada, US, and Mexico is Carney.
Yeah.
No deal. Yeah. No deal. That's how we should start calling him. No deal Marx Carney. That's a great name. Marx No Deal Carney. I just don't. T-shirt, man.
I don't understand what the fuck is going on behind the scenes. Like, so clearly, Trump is willing to do deals to make extensions unless he just has some very specific and unique hate on for Canada, and I don't believe that's true. There's no excuse anymore. You can't keep giving Carney the benefit of the doubt. At some point, you have to say, okay, maybe it's just Carney. Like, at least get a fucking extension so we can work out something. I don't know what his plan is. Why is he on vacation in Ottawa? He's already there. So why is he not working? Like, something smells bad here, man. And you know, the big debate between me and you is he doing this on purpose? Or is he like? And 100%. I do not want to believe that our leader, whatever political party they belong to, would intentionally like destroy our economy and sink the Canadian economy. And yet every single day, Mark Carney makes it harder and harder for me to hold that position.
Let me show you this, because I was watching Moose on the Loose this morning, and he showed a piece of very interesting. It's from Abacus Data. I don't know if you know the website, but it's actually quite good. They do a lot of good research there. But Abacus Data was showing the approval rate for Mark Carney. Well, he showed this one too. Like, he showed the top issues facing Canada: the rising cost of living, Donald Trump and his administration. See, that just shows us. So 62% of Canadians they talk to believe that the rising cost of living is the biggest problem we face. Yet they say that Donald Trump is the second at 44%.
On the actual ad to get it bigger, because I can't really read each. Okay, yeah, there we go.
No, but I can
scroll.
Cost of
living. Okay, the rising cost of living, Donald Trump and his administration. You know, that's for
the economy,
healthcare, and like the thing is,
you know
like,
what's funny? You know, there's two things worth mentioning. I'm just gonna cut you off before you go.
Yeah.
And Moose on the Loose mentioned that, and I was laughing my ass off. Indigenous reconciliation, 2%. I wanted to mention that, but see what's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 6: immigration at 26%, housing affordability and accessibility at 31%, healthcare at 31%, the economy at 37%, Donald Trump and his administration at 44%, and the rising cost of living at 62%. What I find very fucking interesting is that you could argue that immigration should be the number one because it impacts everything
else.
You see, like we were talking a couple of weeks ago with Dr. Watley. So the cost of living, bad policies from the Liberal over the past 10 years. The economy, bad Liberal policies over the past 10 years. Healthcare, bad policies from government for at least 30 years, because that's not just a Liberal thing. That problem was there when the Conservatives were in power. Housing and affordability, 10 years of bad Liberal policies. Immigration, 10 years of bad Liberal policies. Donald Trump and his administration taking advantage of 10 years of bad Liberal policies.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think about immigration there, I you know, we talked about this with the doctors, where our leaders, I don't think they really they need to reframe how they think about immigration, because what they're doing is they're making what they think is immigration decisions, you know, decisions based on immigration policy, but they're actually setting healthcare policy and housing policy, and it doesn't seem like they actually understand the connection between the two. And one thing about that, like Donald Trump on the list, that's idiotic. Like that list, when you're talking about the issues facing Canada, it has to be things that we can do something about. Otherwise, we're just a bunch of losers sitting around complaining about the fucking weather. You know what I mean? Like, we can't do anything about Donald Trump. We can do something about our healthcare, our immigration, whatever the other ones were, the economy. We actually can do something about those things. So it's valid to have those as your issue. But to have Donald Trump as the second most pressing issue, but there's nothing we can fucking do about it. So now we're just a bunch of losers sitting around complaining about, like, if only this hadn't happened, if only it wasn't raining so hard, we would be, you know what I mean? Like, there's no point in complaining about the weather because you can't fucking control it, I guess, unless you're seeding clouds, but that's the whole other.
Unless you're the government.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just Canada needs to get over this Donald Trump thing, man. He is the president of the United States. We don't have a say in it. We deal with whoever they send our way. It is what it is. Let's worry about the shit that we can fucking change.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. There's 3 more subjects that I wanted to address. One, we'll make another one quick, and this is, I'm just curious to see what people think. You haven't seen this video as per what you were telling me earlier, but this is definitely something that is kind of what the fuck is going on here.
Which one is
this was shared by the food processor a couple of days ago. You know what? Hold on. Let me see. I will go check to see if I can find his post, because he's the first one I saw it from, and I should give credit. I will always give credit where credit is due. But
just while you're doing that,
yeah, just take a comment if you want. Yeah.
Says, "Ooh, I like moose." I just want to take that because I believe this is your first time commenting here. Welcome, Anastasia. Hopefully you stick around, and thank you for the comment. Wise guy says, "I think we should call him Marx Carnage." Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. So he did mention it on his X, but he did not show the video. I have a video. And he's not, all he was saying, the food process, man, I gotta stop saying that. The food professor, what he was saying, he was asking the question. Now I lost his post. Oh, here we go. A U.S. company is now making butter in a way you've never seen before.
Oh, yeah.
No animals, no plants, no oil. This butter is made from carbon. Would you try it? So this is a guy that tries to get it right, I would imagine. He's a guy, he's not a conspiracy theorist. Okay. I will show you the post exactly, so it's right here. So very polite, would you try it? Obviously, I said no. Now, this is the type of people I follow. They address the question quite differently. So see how this one was shared instead. A Bill Gates-backed company is now producing butter with no animals, no plants, and no oils. It's made from carbon. Listen to this video.
It looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar with, but without the farmland, fertilizers, or emissions tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia. In the middle of an industrial park in a suburb west of Chicago, something unprecedented is happening.
So you're using this gas right now to cook your food. And we're proposing that we would like to first make your food with that gas.
The company is called Savor, and you better believe it. Their pioneering tech uses carbon and hydrogen to make the stick of butter you see on this plate.
This is pretty novel to be able to make food that looks and tastes and feels exactly like dairy butter, but with no agriculture whatsoever.
And no long ingredient list the average person can't pronounce.
It's really just our fat, some water, a little bit of lecithin as an emulsifier, and some natural flavor and color.
How? Fats are made up of carbon and hydrogen chains. The goal here, replicate those chains without animals or plants. And they did it. They tell me to simplify. They take carbon dioxide from the air and hydrogen from water, heat them up and oxidize them. The final result?
It looks like a wax, like a candle wax at first.
But they're fat molecules, like the ones in beef, cheese, or vegetable oils.
Sustainability is why we are here.
It's all done releasing 0 greenhouse gases, using no farmland to feed cows.
We're not at full capacity in this facility yet.
And even though we're standing in a factory setting,
and in addition to the carbon footprint being much lower for a process like this, right, the land footprint is 1,000 times lower than what you need in traditional agriculture.
I know what you're thinking. I think we need to taste this.
I would love for you to taste this.
It looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar with, but without the farmland, fertilizers, or emissions tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia. In the middle.
So we didn't see or taste it, obviously. I wouldn't eat that shit. And I can tell you guys, I was a vegan for 4 or 5 years. I was a vegetarian for, give it about 12, 13 years between vegetarian and vegan. However the split was. And yeah, it's bullshit. Don't eat that crap. That's fucking garbage. Don't eat that shit. Take it from me. My body was a fucking wreck. My testosterone was down the fucking toilet. I was literally having diarrhea every fucking day because I did not eat meat and meat byproducts. I've gained literally 30 pounds ever since. I literally went from like 195 to 235 right now. And it ain't fat. It ain't fat. It was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
A year and a half? Oh, wow.
Yeah, give it or take, like between a year and 2 years, somewhere in there. But this is bullshit. And just the fact that it says that it's backed by Bill Gates himself, the guy that owns the most land, do you know that guy owns the most, how do you call them? The type of land that they use. God damn, I'm drawing a blank that they use.
Or
he's the one that owns. It's reported that Bill Gates is the one that owns the most farmland in the U.S. and yet he's backing that bullshit. This is, where did I see this? I could not agree with Mr. Dr. Moore on this one. This is all part of the WEF plan of having us eat the bugs. This is all this is. Fuck you with your carbon butter. You can stick it up your ass. There's no fucking way that tastes like butter. The texture was all off. You could see from how many times over the years, oh, wow, this tastes just like the real stuff. No, it doesn't. Plus,
it's identical. It's identical. No, it doesn't. No.
What's the big obsession with fucking vegans and them trying to copy meat byproducts? Why?
Yeah,
Why
just
do you
make
not
your own
create
weird
something
shitty
brand new?
food. Just make your own. Yeah, make your own weird. They genuinely think that like people are gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll just stop eating meat. Like humans have been eating fucking meat as long as we have been humans. It is baked into our very DNA. Our teeth are shaped perfectly to eat meat. We have an omnivore's teeth. We're not a carnivore because we have flat back molars for crushing plant matter, but these sharp front tooth incisors mean we eat meat. We are not going to, the food that a species eats is so baked into its DNA. You are never going to change that by saying, oh, here, carbon butter. But these idiots, it's just classic left-wing ideology. They come up with a theory. They do not factor in human nature or human psychology whatsoever. And then they try to force human psychology and human nature into the box of this theory. And of course, it's nonsense. Of course, it never works. They do it with food. They do it with politics. It's basically why communism or Marxism is the same thing. You've had this theory, is economic theory that kind of sounds like it makes sense if you only ignore all of human psychology and everything we know about human nature, then yeah, it could work perfectly. But of course, you can't actually do that in the real world. Well, you know what's going to happen. Well, you know what's going to happen. She is bang on, but you know what's going to happen.
Make sure you read every ingredient on labels before you buy products. I do every single time. And as we were speaking, I just went to check it out because there's something that she said, because there was no caption on it, so I didn't catch the word. But it's basically made from carbon dioxide, hydrogen, with an addition of emulsifiers and natural flavors and coloring. So basically, coloring, no good for you. Natural flavors, no good for you. What the fuck is emulsifier? I Googled that because I've never heard that fucking term before. But it is a substance. But hold on, it's a substance that stabilizes mixtures of liquids that don't normally mix, like oil and water. So you're basically trying to So you want to replace something that can be done naturally with something that the cow gives us, and you want to make it in a lab.
Yeah.
And
say that's really normal.
No.
To what Sylvie's saying here, you know what's going to happen next, and keep an eye out for it, is they're going to start passing laws saying that you aren't going to need, like, they're going to exempt food makers from putting those labels on there. Be like, you don't have to tell the consumer if it's carbon butter or whatever. And
if you look at Bill Gates, one of his companies just got certified to be organic. So this is scary. A guy like him that's telling us that we need a depopulation plan, and that's the one that he's one of the biggest pusher of the whoops. Now he's backing carbon butter. He's telling us that we don't need meat, that we should eat insects. Yeah, fuck you with your organic products.
They need insects.
But you know that's what's happening right now. Huh? Master Doctor is bang on. If you look at the price of meat just in Canada right now, how much it went up over the past few years, it's insane. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The meat's going to continue to go up, and then they'll put the synthetic food on the shelves at a cheaper price. Of course they will, because they can literally make it in a lab. So you know that it's going to be cheaper to make, but they're going to be even I bought into this shit when I was a vegan.
Bill Gates would take a loss on it. He doesn't care.
Oh yeah, of course.
He can
No, he's not going to take a loss on it. He's going to somehow lobby the government to subsidize this.
That's right.
No. He's going to use our taxpayers' money to make sure to fuck us up the ass properly on our dime. That's what they do. They don't spend their own money. What the fuck you're
right. Dennis A., you waste of skin Easterners voted in the communist liberals. Albertans can't wait to have nothing to do with you. Kind of like Pat Dodds, but like the hostile version. Always coming
bro, there's no point in calling us names. We're probably the only show out there that actually talks about the sovereignty movement of Alberta. I've been on shows talking about this
in a fair and reasonable
in a way that mainstream media will not talk about it. And I'm a fan of Alberta separating. So before you call people names,
stick around.
Maybe,
Calling
people names doesn't change anything.
This is Dennis's first comment, so welcome. Hopefully you stick around. Neither of us voted for the Liberals, just as an aside. But I mean, there's no need to come in so hot. This show is about common sense debate, and I think if you stick around, you might actually you might realize we do things a little bit differently here.
We did at least Anastasia.
Not surprising.
Did you hear that Sean Foyt got approved in Alberta? Yeah, of course he did. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that it was an invitation from the premier, Daniel Smith, that had said, if you want to show up to Edmonton, we will support you there. And that's how it should be. Like, that's how it should be. Again, if Muslims can block the busiest street in Canada to pray, why the fuck is it a problem for a Christian to have a fucking show?
Absolutely.
A Christian singer.
It's
the fact that he voted for Trump is fucking irrelevant. That should not, he's allowed to vote for Trump. Does that mean that I should stop everything that somebody that voted for Carney? Is that where we're at now? No,
it's just this wild sort of like left-wing thought process where like they're convinced that not only are they right on every issue, but they are morally right on every issue.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you are on the other side, you are not just wrong, you are morally wrong. You are an immoral person. You are a bad person. And that's just such a toxic, fucked up worldview, like Anastasia, she's new here, but like I'm an atheist. I'm not a Christian. And yet I'm deeply offended by the way that he has been treated, just for basically, who he voted for, his politics. There's not even anything he says in his songs that could be remotely, he's not preaching hate. The fact that he may in his personal life, not believe that, I don't know, gay marriage should be a thing. Like, I disagree with him. I think it's entirely appropriate that gay people be allowed to marry who they want. But I don't, I don't want to ban some guy from Canada just because he has the opposite opinion. And we're just talking about personal opinion. It's not like he's up there singing about like hating gays or anything like that.
No. I wanted to address that.
Oh, interesting.
Sylvie,
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, Sylvie sent me something about this. Basically, she's saying, guys, will you talk about Smith wanting to criminalize ivermectin? I'm trying to get an expert to speak on the show about this because I do not understand what's her role in there. But there's a doctor, the guy that you shared me his post. I reached out to him. I'm waiting for him to get back to me. I've tried. I contacted Dr. Watley that we had a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, hey, do you know this doctor? He's like, no, I don't. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Do you doctors not like all know each other?
You don't
like,
know every doctor?
Like, do you not? We're being told that we lack doctors in Canada, so you must know every doctor here, right?
Oh, did you reach out to the ones that we talked to?
Yeah, to see. That's always what I do. I reach out to the person. And then I try to find somebody. I'm trying to find somebody that can introduce me to the person I'm trying to get in contact with. But I do want to talk about it. It's just I want to have an expert to address it because I want an expert to speak about ivermectin. I'm a big proponent of ivermectin. This is something I would consume. I just never had to. But if I were in a situation where I needed it, I would. But I'd love to have an expert, not just me talk about it. To have an expert, we can actually pick his brain about ivermectin.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yes, Sylvie, it's something that's in the background that I haven't talked about. But my goal is to have an expert to speak about it. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that. Joe says, Rob sounds like a bull describing the evils of the red cape because he does not understand the cape is held by the matter. I mean, Joe, we're going to have to agree to disagree. I know you're a smart guy. I respect your intelligence, but even smart people can be brainwashed. I just think you're not really. I just think your head's in the sand on this. I think you're not aware. You're certainly aware of some of the issues with the left, but I don't think you're. You had made a comment earlier about that I'm not. I'm being. My opinions are being pushed by dark and sinister forces. When I look at how the West is coddling Islam and there's some form of like an Islamic takeover of some Western countries, that's just being that's just observing objective reality, Joe. I think that you are, there are sinister forces, but it's coming from within the left. The call is coming from inside the house, brother. I just think you're not really being. I think you're being fooled by the propaganda on this one, just like I was for the longest time. But we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on it. I think it's just one of those issues. You think I'm being fooled. I think you're being fooled, and I guess time will tell who's correct.
And it's interesting because is anyone dumb enough to use horse dewormers? Speaking about ivermectin, some of the most prominent doctors at the beginning of COVID were recommending ivermectin. It's not until the media took a hold of that and spinned it as a horse dewormer that it became an outrage. But this is something that some of the highest virologists, the most known virologists, proned from the beginning of COVID, and they lost their job. They got ridiculed for doing it. And then now guys like Chris Cuomo that made a fucking killing bashing guys like Joe Rogan that spoke about ivermectin has come out about 6 months ago saying, you know what, I was wrong. I did some research and it actually worked for me. So, bro, Joe, as smart as you are, there's some of the things that you say that is just, you're literally repeating what media has been telling you, because that's what that's how they call ivermectin is horse dewormer. But that's the reason why I'd like to have an expert.
I do think
to speak about it.
This topic has definitely been just so muddied so much. It is. I get what Joe's saying. It's hard to, especially if you're coming from a left-wing sort of background. It's really hard to, because I actually don't have an opinion on ivermectin. I don't know enough about it, but I actually do. And personally, I think it's kind of interesting that Danielle Smith is making this move, and
I don't
whether
like
that's
that
whether it's the right policy or not, I don't know. I would like to talk to an expert, but I like that it shows that she's not beholden to anyone. She's clearly not beholden even to the right wing, even though she's a conservative politician. She might be wrong on this issue, but she at least it shows that she is doing what she believes is correct. And I appreciate that in a politician, because you don't see it that often.
Yeah, but you know what? As much as she's considered a conservative, she's not a real conservative either. There's no such thing as real conservative politicians in Canada. It's just she's more right than a Pierre Poilievre, for example, but she's not a real conservative. But at the end of the day, I just want to have the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We can agree to disagree on, is it useful? Is it good? I would love to have two people. One expert that prones ivermectin, one expert that is against it, and have them on the show to speak about it. I want to organize debates. It's just you guys have no idea how hard it is. Like, I got somebody like Judith Curie that's told me multiple times that she will take a debate any given time. I've approached the biggest names on the planet, and I have a big fucking audience. None of them ever comes back to me because they don't want to entertain that type of conversation, because in their minds, unfortunately, if you address somebody that does not see the world the same as you, you're enabling their message to be shared with the world. That is not how it works. We need to be able to have an honest discussion on, for example, this case being ivermectin. I would love to have an expert, and I'm trying to find one that will come on the show. It's just, it's not fucking easy to find somebody to come.
Yeah,
but
no,
Dr. Rita Lebo ivermectin, I'm not finding anything on that woman. So are you sure it's rolled properly, wise guy? Because I can't find anything.
So there's been a couple of really good comments that just came in about this that I think are worth putting up there. I'll put this up here.
Yeah.
Where is it? Stephen. Oh shit! We just got a bunch of them came in the last. Okay, so like
is it Rima? But hold on. Is it Rima?
Yeah, go ahead.
Leibau, as in RIMA space LAIBOW?
Or Rita, RITEA.
I just want to, again, if she's against it, I fucking love to talk to her. If she's for it, I'd fucking love to talk to her. I just want to understand why. Because exactly like Chris H is saying, ivermectin is also a very cheap drug and it's cheap to mass produce. And that was also one of the things that those doctors were saying, that's why they vilified ivermectin, because you can't make money with ivermectin. You just can't.
Well, yeah, as Stephen Tingley says here, and this is a kind of like just non-political, non-partisan information that I would find valuable. It's a universal regenerative medicine system targeting disease reversal, immune restoration, and cellular regeneration without invasive surgery or harmful side effects. Okay, and that's, I'd certainly, we need to have an expert to talking, but like that's the kind of talk that I want to hear about. The word ivermectin, we all know, has been so
horse dewormer right off the bat.
Ivermectin. Let's try to strip all that away and just, what does it do as a drug? How does it actually help? For me, I want to know, what is the mechanism by which it helps? When someone talks about a miracle cure, I'm not really interested. But if you can explain to me what it does, I have
snake oil for you.
Yeah, exactly, right.
But no, hold on. Go back to Stephen Tingley.
Yep.
Thanks for your comment, bro. That's some smart fucking shit you're writing there. At least it sounds believable just from the way you wrote it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do more
research on it. But the question I had for you, can you suggest somebody I can approach? You don't need, I'm not saying if you know someone, that's fucking great. But do you know somebody with an audience, like somebody that is known, somebody that's recognized as an expert, either for it or against it, that I should approach in order to have on the show to speak to them? Because this is what I want. I want to talk about ivermectin. I want to understand why somebody like Daniel Smith would try to block it. So I want to get experts from both sides of the story to tell me what's good, what's bad, and let's see where we fall.
I mean, at the end of the day, unless it's proven to be specifically harmful, I don't really want the government block. I don't want the government to force me to take any drug, and I don't want them to prevent me from having access to a drug. Agree. It's a good comment from Chris H. He says, I agree with Nico. Ivermectin is a good and important drug, and I lean on the socialist side. I saw the corruption slander of that medicine. It is in the WHO's list of most important drugs. I think the guy invented it got a Nobel Prize or something. But what jumps out to me about Chris' comment is the corruption and slander of that medicine. Because if we're being honest, we all know that happened. Of course. That doesn't mean that it's not correct. Maybe there was a reason to slander it, but given the context, given the environment, the political environment of the moment, I'm inclined to err on the side of it probably was more propaganda, and therefore, I mean, I want to hear from experts. As you said, I just want to know how is it? What does the drug do? Is it good? Is it bad? Maybe it's great for some things and bad for other, like most drugs, right? There is no miracle cure-all. But just the way that it's talked about on both sides. On the right, many talk like it's this fucking miracle cure. It will cure everything. And I don't really believe that. And on the left, it's this evil, hateful fucking, drug that will destroy your body and is being pushed by, of course, white supremacists or whatever the fuck. And I just, we need to get rid of all that shit when we're talking about medical issues.
Yeah, and see, this is one of those topics. Thanks again, Sylvie, for bringing this up, because you really have things like Chris H. Ivermectin is also a very cheap drug and cheap to mass produce.
That might be why that it's being
This is what the research I've done in the past led me to, by listening to experts that were proning that at the beginning of 2020 to help with COVID, is the fact that it's cheap. And basically you can mass produce it for peanuts, and there's not a massive profit margin on the product, because like in the US, I think it's 50 years. It can't be 50 years because of The blue pill has not been on the market for 50 years, but the patents on medication in the US, they have a shelf life. And as soon as that shelf life is gone, other people can copy the actual remedy and start mass producing it. Just like you had the blue pill and then you have Cialis, for example, that came out years and years after. So this is the type of product that has no patent on it. You can't patent it and skyrocket the price like they do on medication. You can't. So that's normally something that big pharma does not like. If they don't control, if they don't have a patent, why the fuck would they they're not going to prone it. They want you to buy their patented remedy.
Yeah. And you know, as Wise Guy says here, he says, I might have the name spelt wrong, but she says the farmers just treat the animal for a few days because the males become sterile after continued use. She was adamant about it. Yeah, and you know, that's the kind of stuff I want to know about as well. If you know, I want to know what the side effects are. I want to know if this is something that happens in humans. What are the main things that it treats? Is it viruses? Is like, you know, you probably know more about the conditions it's supposed to treat than I do. But sorry, very
man,
interested.
I'm trying to find. No, I'm just trying to find who that doctor could be, because I've been looking for someone for the past week or so.
What about this person here that Chris says ivermectin was given out for free in Africa to treat river blindness by Merck.
Yeah.
Dr. Pierre Corey is who I learned about the drug from. Wonder if
because that is that is one of the reasons I saw that in the past. That is one of the reasons ivermectin can be used for certain specific type of worms, but there's other applications, and it was applicable.
It's a parasite,
to some
right?
Yes,
anti-parasite.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all
that's
right.
the original intent for it. But as you know, drugs normally have different application. Yeah, sometimes they can. So Dr. Merck, I'll check it out.
It's just here's the name, Dr. Rima Lalbo, Lalbow.
Lalbo.
Yeah,
I'll check them out.
This says parasites, river blindness, parasitic skin conditions. Yeah, I mean, it's just. And Joe says it is prescribed for parasitic infections, other skin issues. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was my understanding too.
Yep, and it's just like, why did we? How have we allowed politics to make this so difficult? You come up with a drug, do a fucking trial and test to see what it's effective against, and then we'll know, and then you take it when you need it. But it's just everything's been politicized, especially everything to do with COVID specifically, and you know, I don't even think that's about COVID. I think that's just it's just because it's a reference or it's a reflection of the highly polarized moment that we're in. You know, if the flu had been the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic happened in 2020 or 2019, that would have been equally as politicized, just because that's the moment we're in.
Yeah, I think that doctor is definitely an expert on ivermectin. I'm just looking in his background right now.
Bumpy Johnson. Ivermectin getting banned because it cures gayness.
Clearly, Rob has never tried
it. Yeah. Fuck, I was just about to make that joke. It's like, Nico, get a whole bunch of tips to Nico then.
Bro, we've been through this before. I'm not gay. I'm fucking French, asshole.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'm not gay. I'm French. It's just how we roll here. It's just how we bond. It's just how the boys bond.
This is how the thing is. Yes, we make eye contact when we do jiu-jitsu. Hi, bro. Hey. So basically, ivermectin could have used for COVID, acting as both an antiviral and anti-inflammatory agent. So yeah, so basically that was my understanding, is you're not gonna help somebody that has autoimmune problems, as in that has comorbidities over comorbidities, like all the people that pretty much that passed away from COVID. But for people like you and I that have a good immune system, it would help get rid of it faster. That was my understanding. It seems like that's still the explanation as today. But again, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just, I'd love to get it right.
Well, I'd love to get the right as far as ivermectin goes, but really the real story here, as far as we're concerned, is what's up with Danielle Smith. Like what was it that caused her to ban this? So that was another name. I don't know if you took that down, Stephen Tingley.
I'm gonna have
Dr.
to go back and start looking at looking
Quite
at
the
them.
name. Sharmithra
Yeah.
Mishra, infectious disease, St. Michael's Hospital. What do you think? You want to pin her there?
Yeah, we definitely can. I think
Right.
this went off topic, but I fucking love when we go off topic like this. This is something that I really, really
Great
enjoy.
conversations
So,
today. Good conversations. Good
so
debate.
Dr. Sharmishta Mishra. God damn, I almost don't want her on the show because I'm gonna have to do a fucking introduction. Jesus.
And so Joe says, Rob, the purpose of propaganda is not to make converts. It is to obscure everything to the point where no one can trust anything. And I completely agree with you. I understand that. As Orwell says in 1984, it's not really about convincing people. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. It's not about convincing people to lie. It's about, it's a show of power that you can force them to repeat the lie, even especially if they know that it's false.
Even if they don't, especially when they don't believe it, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess we get into it gets tricky though, where I agree with your point that the point of propaganda is to make sure no one can trust anything. But what if something shouldn't be trusted? What if something is untrustworthy? We can't trust that just because, then you're getting into some form of reverse propaganda where you're trusting the thing you shouldn't be because you're like, oh, well, propaganda is trying to get me not to trust this thing. But, maybe it's propaganda within propaganda. All we can do is just use our own, we are all, to some extent, affected by the information wars around us, the propaganda. There's propaganda coming at us from all sides, and it is impossible to not be affected to some degree. But at some stage, you just have to say, okay, based on everything that I know in good faith, this is what all the evidence I've seen, this is what I believe. And I just, based on my own observation, I'm not listening to what someone is telling me. Yeah, sometimes you hear someone say something, and then they're basically saying, look over here, and then you look over there, and you, using your own eyes and your own intelligence, your own logic, you can say, oh, actually, yes, that is correct. That's not really just believing what someone tells you. Sometimes we all need a little nudge in the right direction. But in my opinion, if just go back what started this whole conversation, if you don't think that left-wing political thought today is all about demonizing everything to do with the West while uplifting everything to do with outside the West, if you think that you're able to for example, if you think that Christians would be able to shut down Bloor Street to pray in the exact same way that Muslims are allowed to do it, if you think that's possible, I mean, that's your opinion. But again, I just think you're putting your head in the sand, because that is just not the world that we live in. And then if you want to go further and ask yourself, why is that? Why can't they? And I'm no Christian booster. I'm an atheist. I'm not Christian. But I do believe in fairness and a sense of justice, that everyone in society has to be treated the same. We'll pin it there.
All I'm going to say is, Bumpy, watch RRR. You will not regret it. I Googled it. This is a very Indian movie, and I cannot stand those fucking half dancing, half singing people flying with swords all over the place. It drives me absolutely fucking nuts.
Is that what it is?
Just because you asked me to watch it, I won't. I'm just going to spite you, Bumpy.
You're not the boss of me, Bumpy.
You're not the boss of me.
Okay.
When I saw your message, Bumpy, I was ignoring you on purpose. I saw both your triple R message, and no, I refuse to watch it. No, sorry, I'm racist, bro.
We'll end there. But this is a good comment to end on, Joe. Joe says, right now we are all being driven towards distrusting all of the institutions we were once taught to trust, but building towards what? Yeah, it's a good comment. I think we all know each other enough that we're all acting in good faith, right? No one's pushing an agenda. We're all trying to get it right. We all have our different ways of seeing the world, and we're not going to agree on everything. But that's all we're trying to do on the show. We're just trying to get it right. We're having these discussions, and I think, I think
great one today too.
Yeah, it was. It was lots of great discussions, some great guests. Kind of had a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Other than that, folks, we will.
Even got to call Rob gay, so it's cool.
Wow,
great episode.
That's
a daily occurrence.
That's a daily occurrence. Yeah.
But I beat Sylvie to it. That's what was.
Yeah, usually it's Sylvie. Yeah. All right, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose to be here with us. And of course, we're always going to appreciate that. If you do want to support us, remember to like and share the stream. That's just the bare minimum. Anyone can do that. If you really want to support us, please consider becoming a member for $2.99 a month. The price of a shitty coffee over at Taj Mahorton's. Other than that, folks, you have a great day. We will catch you for Wednesday's show tomorrow. Remember, we've got Jeff Everly as our
Everly.
Everly.
That is so gay. Everly.
Everly. He's here with as our Wednesday guest. So Bumpy, you'll get your chance to hate on him tomorrow, but we'll try to keep it civil, folks. Guys, have a great day. We'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.